This week on the Land Doctors, we visit 3 ranches. On 2 of them, we'll learn about alternative deer management programs. And on the 3rd one, we discover an abandoned oil well while we're exploring the property.
This program is sponsored in part by the Oklahoma Energy Resources Board. The OERB is voluntarily funded by Oklahoma's oil and natural gas producers and royalty owners, and their funds are being used for well site restoration and student education all across the state. Since 1993, the OERB has restored more than 13,000 orphaned and abandoned well sites at no cost to landowners or taxpayers, employing Oklahoma contractors all along the way. The OERB is proud to serve the state of Oklahoma.
I need the Oklahoma wind to run open through my veins. I need the Indian grass to cut right through these long and lonesome days homeward bound. I'm homeward bound. I hear the scissor tail calling me from the redbud trees. I hear the topwater roar in the still of the day as the bass enjoy their feast homeward bound. I'm homeward bound. Whoa, I recognize that front porch light from a mile away. Whoa, this is a place that for all my life I have longed to stay, where I want to stay.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Land Doctors. I'm Kelly Hurt.
And I'm Chuck Roberts, and welcome to the Limestone Game and Range Management Association.
Well, Chuck, tell me about your association.
Well, it's a group of landowners. We got together looking for a way to promote better deer hunting and promote our deer herd. We've ended up with about 13,000 acres and about 25 landowners involved in this.
Wow. So about 500 acres on average per landowner.
Yes, but it ranges anywhere from one person's got 30 acres in it, and the other guy's got 3,500 acres in it.
That's quite a spread. So how did you all come together like that?
Well, it started out because the deer were running back and forth across the road between me and Garrett Clark.
Yeah.
And Garrett says, you know, you're shooting my deer. Well, you're shooting my deer. Come find out, we're shooting each other's deer. And we kind of worked around, and that's how it started, between the two of us talking about it.
So what was the next step past that first conversation?
Well, we talked to a few of our other neighbors, and then the big step was to get the Noble Foundation involved in it. And they have another group like this in the southern part of the state, and we've talked to them down there, and it just kind of exploded from there. They've done a really good job of showing us what we need to do to improve our deer herd.
So give me some examples of what they taught you to do with your deer herd.
Well, the number one thing is not shoot so many bucks.
Yeah.
And to shoot a lot of does. We did some spotlight surveys, which turned out to be a lot more work than it was fun. But we figured out real quick that we had a bad buck to doe ratio. And so we needed to kill more or harvest more does and harvest less bucks. And so it's all voluntary. You know, the guy that's got 40 acres is just as likely to kill a big buck on him or 2 big bucks on him as the guy that's got 3,500 acres. But since we're all on the same page, it makes it a lot easier to let that 3.5-year-old deer go.
Yeah.
Because when he crosses the fence, he's not going to get shot.
Well, that's the thing. When you've got a buck that's almost there, that's almost where you want him, those are the hardest ones to let go, because you know if he does hop over the fence, the next guy's probably going to shoot him unless you've got some kind of relationship or some kind of management strategy worked out like you guys are working on.
And you know, when he jumps across the fence, that guy, that 3.5-year-old deer, maybe the biggest deer he's ever killed in his life.
Yeah.
So that's okay, you know. Shoot him if that's one you want to harvest. Get him. We're just going to limit to the total number of bucks. We have kids involved in this. One guy, hopefully we'll get to see him today. He's 10, 11 years old. Killed a little 6-point. I shouldn't say little. He killed a nice 6-point.
Yeah.
And nobody in the whole group was any prouder than that guy right there.
Yeah.
And that's where we're promoting, hopefully promoting better deer herd and promoting hunting, and that goes from the kids on up to grandpas like me.
Well, that little guy's what it's really all about, though.
Oh yeah, it has a lot of fun.
So, what is the preferred buck to doe ratio?
2 to 1 would be good. Less than that would be even better.
Why is that?
Well, you're using your habitat to grow in bucks that people want to hunt instead of using it to grow does. It also has something, and you need to talk to the experts on this. A lot of it has to do with that rut. If it puts too much stress on those bucks during the rut because they've got too many does to chase after.
Oh.
There may be bucks that you have what they call that post-rut mortality.
Yeah.
They just run themselves to death chasing does. There's too many of them.
I could make a joke there, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
So, well, so you get your ratio of your bucks to does in line, and then because you've got, I think what I'm hearing you say is because you got fewer does out there, then you've got more nutrition left for the bucks, and I guess that will show itself in larger body size and larger horns.
Correct. We hope.
You hope.
And it's not that we'll have less deer.
Right.
We may have the same amount of deer, but there'll be more bucks in the group than there is right now.
Yeah.
We may have the same amount of deer. I guess we could end up with more deer by harvesting less does, because the bucks would then have a better survival rate. We're not calling this trophy management.
Right.
It's not necessarily that we're doing this for trophy deer. That's a side effect, is there's going to be more big bucks for us to hunt.
Right.
We're doing it to get the whole herd more consistent and more, healthier. The whole herd be healthier.
After talking to Chuck Roberts, we drove over to visit with Richard Freeman and see how he's using an 8-foot game fence to securely manage his deer herd.
Well, Richard, tell me, you've got, what, 826 acres here at Wynnewood, and the first thing I noticed when we come through the front gate is it's high fenced. And we've looked at different ways that people are trying to manage their deer herd. But here you chose a high fence approach. And tell me, why did you do that? Give me some of the advantages and disadvantages of that.
Well, I did. When I bought this place, there wasn't a fence at all.
Yeah.
So it was kind of free range to everybody in the county. So I spent about 2 years feeding the deer and protein and doing a bunch of different stuff. And what I found was the people that owned property next to me,
Yeah.
who didn't have the same desire of building deer with big horns,
Right.
were shooting things that were 2, 3 years old. So I chose to put a high fence up just so I could manage the stuff inside the fence. This is not a commercial hunting place. It's
Right.
private for myself and friends and family. So we did that, and I think it's been high fence for 5 or 6 years, and it's worked well.
Yeah.
What I have found though is, when we first did that, we got clearance from the to buy deer,
Yeah.
and so I bought some breeder bucks and just turned them loose.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma, the rules are if you buy those deer, you don't no longer own them.
Right.
If you're not have a commercial hunt license. So I turned them loose, and they did good for about a year, but they all ended up dead.
Really?
The native deer that lived in here, I mean, I'd find deer just laying around, and it wasn't the people were killing them. The native deer were getting them. So,
So they would be all just beat up.
yeah,
and
just wear them out.
Gouged with
because
horn.
those deer were pen raised.
Yeah.
And they weren't They weren't ready for that.
They weren't ready for that. So then at this point probably then you're all back to native genetics.
We are. We're back to, and there is some genetics from those deer that we have some deer in here that have those genetics, but it's native deer, and all those deer that we did buy, the ones that did survive, the doe and stuff like that, they're wild.
They're wild, huh?
Yeah, they're wild.
Because I don't see them when I'm out here. You know, they're just like anywhere else where I'm riding around. I don't, in a Polaris, I'm not just seeing deer standing out or running towards me when I come through. How many deer do you think you got on the property?
We think there's about 100.
About 100.
And we think that's a pretty good number for 800 acres. We don't really know. We're not biologists by any means, but it seems to work well.
So as far as the nutritional program for them, what all are you doing for food plots, and that sort of thing?
Well, I don't know exactly what the protein is, but we feed protein about 6 months of the year, and it's just force-fed. It's not thrown. They can get it anytime they want to.
Yeah.
And you can see one of those protein feeders here in the background. But and then we feed corn, but there's a lot of acorns here, so the deer don't really respond to the corn until after all the acorns are gone.
Yeah, you're about 60-40 mix between 40% open, about 60% wooded.
Right, that's right.
And so once all the acorns are gone, then they come back to the feeders and the green fields.
That's right.
Now, are you feeding this time of year when things are sort of sparse for them?
No. And that's nothing that nobody's told us.
Yeah.
It's just something that we've done. We don't know if it's right or wrong, but it seemed to work because we do have some deer out here that'll go over 160.
Yeah. That's 160 inches.
160 inches, right.
Okay. Now, what size deer do you think you got? Just your typical buck that you got?
What we weigh?
Yeah, what we weigh.
Well, I've never killed a deer here, so.
You've never killed a deer?
I've never killed a deer here. The one deer that was killed was the guy that works here for me.
Yeah.
And I think he was 180 pounds, so it's
That's a big deer.
Yeah, a big
for
deer.
Here.
Yeah.
So you've not killed any?
No, I just watch them.
You just watch them?
Right.
Oh, you softy.
Yeah.
Well, so what kind of green fields are you planting as far as food plots?
We put wheat in, some winter rye, and then we mix some turnips.
Turnips in?
Yeah, and the deer just love turnips.
They love turnips.
They do.
That is the bomb for deer.
They love them.
Well, let's do this. Let's hop into the Polaris and ride around and look at some of the property there.
Okay.
All right, Richard. So this is one of your demand feeders here?
Yeah, this is a all seasons protein feeder.
Yeah.
And we'll usually put, fill it up.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything in there.
Doesn't look like
I think they've got her cleaned out, but you use those pellets, protein pellet, and usually like 26% protein.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll mix some corn in there with it.
Yeah.
And then of course we'll put mineral in here.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, and they'll lick around on it. But I think I have 4 of these scattered around the ranch, in the inside of the ranch.
Well, when I first started seeing these things, I couldn't understand how it didn't just all run out.
Yeah.
But there's actually a little lip inside
in
there.
Yeah, they got to stick their nose in there
to get it.
To get it.
And
right.
then as they do that, that allows a little more to trickle out.
Yep.
Which is pretty efficient design there. Keeps coons out of it too.
Yep.
You know, with the whirly bird that's just scattering it everywhere,
yeah.
You're feeding about as many coons as anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's high enough. The hogs that do get in here, they have to get what's on the ground.
Yeah.
They can't get unless they're big.
Yeah.
The big ones can.
And then that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so it's really designed for deer. It's specific,
right.
It targets them, you're getting the protein and then nutrients to the animal that you're really interested
right.
in.
Exactly.
And then I see you got a nice box blind over there where you can watch all this.
That's right.
But you probably watch as much from the lodge.
I do. You know, that was put there. We put that there before we built the lodge.
Yeah.
So when we built that, you can just set on the front porch. Exactly. So that needs to be moved.
Oh, it's tough being you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go look at some more stuff here. This is more what I think of as a traditional food plot.
Yeah.
This looks like something that guys would use to bow hunt.
Yeah, this is a good bow. There's a ladder stand there, and this is kind of down in a creek bottom. There's a creek that runs kind of along in there, and then the deer and turkey really love this area right here.
Yeah, this is where I was seeing the turkeys the other day. So you come off the elevation of the hill, you've got this little flat, then you've got the creek bottom.
Right.
So they run up and down the creek bottom.
Yep.
And this is just sort of a nice little secluded spot where they can comfortably come out, do a little grazing.
Do a little grazing, do a little eating.
Yeah.
And that is just one of my corn feeders, solar powered corn feeder.
Yeah.
And we run those, we'll start those about, I don't know, August, and let them run through the hunting season, get them used to that and coming to it.
You're gonna let it run through the looking season for you.
Yeah, exactly.
This would be a great place to be a deer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it is. They have no pressure, none.
They get fed and
they get
looked at.
Exactly.
Sometimes life throws you a curveball, and that was certainly the case with John and Jackie Strain. I was working with them to find the perfect ranch, a place where they could go, take the children and grandchildren, where they could fish, they could ride four-wheelers, they could go hunting, they could just enjoy nature. But along the way, John fell extremely ill and was not able to get the family out to see the property before we closed. Now the family gets to visit the property together for the first time, and we were fortunate enough to get to tag along. John and Jackie gave me a fairly extensive wish list when we started looking for the perfect ranch. They wanted trophy whitetail hunting, and they wanted it in southeastern Oklahoma. Fortunately, we were able to zero in on Hughes County as an ideal location for them. It was a shorter drive time than their previous ranch, and it also gave them the deer hunting they wanted. They also wanted exceptional water. They wanted lakes, ponds, creeks, they wanted it all. And this property offered every type of water that they were looking for. They also wanted a nice home or lodge so that the family could stay for extended periods of time without getting on each other's nerves. Speaking of getting on nerves, that was one of the main reasons that I'd come out this day. John had noticed substantial hog activity on the property, and he wanted me to come out so that we could talk about the best way to address it. While we were out looking at the damage, we also stumbled into something else.
Well, John, looks like you've got maybe an abandoned gas well, an abandoned oil well, and an abandoned injection well on your property. Well, as you know, OERB has a abandoned well cleanup program, and you just need to turn it in through the Corporation Commission, and they'll let you know if this qualifies or not.
Well, I certainly will get in touch with them, because it's an eyesore. If it's one thing, if it's operating, but if it's abandoned, it needs to be cleaned out of here.
Now, over there you've got actually an oil well, the old pumping unit. What I think we have here, John, is this used to be hooked to the well, and they were gathering gas off the well that they were using to run. You see the regulator there. That was a gas-driven
Using the gas
engine
to run the oil pump.
So they were using the gas off the well to run the oil pump to pump the oil out of the well. You know, it's a lot of people don't know about the well cleanup program here in Oklahoma, but it's one of the best things that this state has done to help reclaim the land and to restore the land.
But I wasn't aware of that, and that's I will definitely be getting in touch with them, because it needs to be, if it's abandoned, I want it taken out.
Yeah, it's no point in it sitting here anymore. No. And they'll take out the concrete and everything. So
wow.
They'll cap off the well below, I think 3 or 4 feet below grade.
Really?
And they'll take everything out. Yeah, they could probably take care of all that for you.
Okay.
And the charge?
It's free.
It's free?
Yeah, it's free. That's hard to beat. Seriously, it won't cost you a penny.
It's a state program.
It's funded by the oil and gas industry.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. They
looks
have
like
a
they could just take the metal from this and recycle it or something. You know?
They will.
Yeah.
But they have a voluntary tax that they placed on themselves, and they have about a 95% participation among the oil and gas industry, and that tax pays to clean up all these
More
old
people
sites.
need to know about that, actually.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And they need to know how it's funded, because they're real quick to get on the oil company sometimes, but they're paying to clean up their mistakes of the past, maybe.
Yeah. Because, you know, this is, now if there is a company out there that's still viable, they'll expect them to take care of it. But if the company's gone out of business and, you know, there's no one left to do it, and that's what that fund is for.
Okay.
This is cool.
For us, it's a pretty large creek.
Yeah. It's just the rocks and everything. This little shelf. Then you got this deep pool down here. That's pretty awesome.
The water's very clear.
Jackie will be down here swimming in this summer.
Oh yeah, hunting a snake. Hunting a snake.
She'll be down here snake hunting, huh? You are more protective of him than you used to be.
Well, when you nearly lose the love of your life twice.
Yeah, but it wasn't from being in the woods.
No, it was lack of.
Well, that ends another episode of the Land Doctors, and we're really glad that you let us come out here and see your place and explore a little bit with you, catch your fish.
It's my fish.
Yeah, so it's fun.
No respect, no respect.
None at all, none for the aged, but I'm glad you're still here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Blessed to be here.
Yes, we're very tickled. Well, John and Jackie Strain, thank you again. We did enjoy ourselves, and we hope to come back again.
I hope you will come back. You're always welcome, and I want you to come back and see what we've done, and we kind of talked about what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that, Lord willing, and so come back and we'll show you what we did.
Show you what you've been able to accomplish here.
Right.
I want to see it.
Plus, we'll show you a picture of a big deer.
A big one.
The big one.
That's muy grande.
Muy grande.
Yeah.
What do you? That's Oklahoma big buck.
That is, yeah. That's a big one in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Well, that ends another episode for us today. As always, go to landdoctors.com for more information on this and other episodes. And don't forget to hang around after the credits for a little lanyap. Do you have an Oklahoma property that you'd like some help with or that you'd like to see on our show? Drop us a line at landdoctors.com or our Facebook page. You never know, you might get to show off your land doctoring skills.
I need the Oklahoma wind to run open through my veins. I need the Indian grass to cut right through these long and lonesome days homeward bound. I'm homeward bound. I hear the scissor tail calling me from the redbud trees. I hear the topwater roar in the still of the day as the bass enjoy their feast homeward bound. I'm homeward bound. Whoa, I recognize that front porch light from a mile away. Whoa, this is a place that for all my life I have longed to stay, where I want to stay.
So now I'm with Kenneth G, and I understand as part of your work with the deer herd down on the Noble Foundation Deer Research Unit that you had to age a lot of deer.
We did actually did some research relative to whitetail deer aging using tooth eruption and tooth wear.
Well, out of this pile of jawbones that from the deer that the Limestone Management Group here has harvested, you've selected some for us.
Well, we were just going to go over a little example of how we would use the tooth eruption and wear technique to place a jawbone into a year class or an age group. This first jaw that we're going to look at, and a key characteristic that would let you know that this is a fawn, is that it only has 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth fully erupted. So,
and then one
that is erupted. Okay, so then we'll move from the fawn to a yearling jawbone.
Right.
Now you'll notice that this yearling actually has 6 teeth, the 6 teeth of the adult dentition.
Okay.
This last tooth, this last molar, is just really not fully erupted yet, but
Right.
it's almost completely erupted. Okay, and then, but you'll still notice that third premolar, third premolar is still a 3-cusp tooth. We've done fawns, we've done yearlings. Now we're going into adults, and this is where it gets a little sketchier in terms of being able to put them into a specific year class. So this is an adult. First of all, you can see that it has 6 teeth, okay, fully erupted.
So its baby teeth are gone.
Baby teeth are gone. These are permanent teeth.
Okay.
These are the only teeth this deer will ever have from here on out, okay?
Okay.
Well, in fact, this one won't have these anymore because the deer doesn't exist.
The deer's dead.
That's right.
Yeah, we've got those teeth
That's
now.
exactly correct, yes.
The
No,
deer
we're not-
lost his teeth. yeah.
Exactly. So, and then you can see that the amount of wear on these molars, the lingual crest of these molars, is very minute. Okay, so that dentine line is still fairly narrow,
Right.
and you see that those crests are still really sharp.
Right.
Okay, and you don't have a whole lot of wear on this rear cusp of the third molar.
You're like a deer dentist.
Well, except I've done dental casts on deer, but I haven't done dental fillings on deer or braces.
You haven't
So,
done any
no,
braces
I haven't done
on
any of
them?
that, no.
Well, I
I've
think-
seen a few that needed braces.
Yeah.
So,
I can see that in your future.
yeah.
Daddy, where did those come from?
Well, let me tell you.
Great Plains Kubota, your Oklahoma Kubota dealer and proud sponsor of the Land Doctors. Kubota, for Earth, for life. This program is sponsored and produced by the Land Doctors Management Group. We all know that Oklahomans belong to the land, but even the best of us need a little help from time to time. If you've got a spot of land that you love but would like to make it even better, we're here to help. Whether it's wildlife, water management, natural resources management, environmental cleanup, or even real estate development, these doctors are always on call.
I love the smell of fresh dirt in the morning. Smells like victory.